Hey boys and girls, let's try science. Check this out. Here we have a bee working its way. See the pistils on this plant? It was a flowering plant, and the flower has finished, but you can still see the pistils there, and there's pollen, and so the bee is working its way through, grabbing what it can of the nectar so that it can bring it back to its hive. It's a pretty exciting thing. These are all desert plants, succulents, and look at all of the flowers that are on them. Even desert plants have all these flowers, all these growths that can help to keep the pollination process going. The bees come in, they are attracted to the pretty flowers, they are attracted to the smell, and then they go in and they put it's like a little straw that goes down inside, gets that nectar out, and then as it goes from one to the next, it does pollination because it's moving the pollen from one flower to another, and then those flowers can end up seeding and creating new plants for that original plant. Everything in nature has to have a way of reproducing or creating seeds or some way of getting another one of itself. Bees are a fantastic way that the pollen from one flower can go to another flower in such a way so they can make their seeds, and that plant can then drop the seeds and potentially a new plant will develop. So thank you to the bees. The bees are awesome. If you can, try to avoid killing a bee. They're not as, some people are afraid, but you know what? If you leave them alone, they generally will leave you alone, and they'll do their job, and their job helps us. So thank you to the bees. All right, check that out. Isn't that amazing? Look at him go. Busy, busy bee. Now you know where the term busy bee came from. The bees are always working, getting that nectar, moving that pollen from place to place. All right, have a good afternoon. Hi, welcome to Let's Try Science. Today, let's try a little science outside in the backyard with some of the things you might see around if you are living on the West Coast. So what I'm showing you right now is a grapevine, and the grapevine has large leaves. It loses its leaves in the winter time, so it is considered to be a deciduous plant. Deciduous plants lose their leaves in the winter and then get new growth in the spring. The grapevine is called a vine because it is a climbing plant, and it likes to climb using tendrils. In tendrils part 1, we looked at the morning glory tendril. Here we're going to look at the grapevine tendrils. Now this is late summer, early autumn, and because it is late summer, early autumn, you are seeing the dried out tendrils. They've already grabbed their position if they were going to, and they are starting to harden and dry up. In the spring, they're green. There's many of them, and they are reaching, trying to find something to help keep the leaves of the grapevine stable. Now, another fun thing about the grapevine, of course, is the grapes. And you think, okay, so this is the fruit of the plant. Why does a grapevine have a fruit? Well, all plants have to create some way of reproducing, which is making more of that plant. In this case, more of that plant is more grapevines. Well, inside each one of these grapes, there are seeds. These are seeded grapes. I know you can get the seedless ones at the grocery store, but they're actually genetically altered to make them seedless. by nature, all fruit will have some type of seed inside or outside, like a strawberry has its seeds on the outside. Well, this has the seeds on the inside. Some of them have fallen off and you can actually see where the placement of the seed would be. And it is designed so, well, for one thing, as the year goes on, it would dry up and those grapes would fall off and land in the dirt and potentially get stepped in, worked in by rain, moved around by wind, and then you would get another grapevine. Okay. Another way that you might transport these seeds is an animal could come along, such as a bird, and decide they want to eat those grapes, and they are eating the grape and the seed, and when they get rid of it, when their waste comes out, the seed will come out with the waste, and when that happens, it could go into the ground again along with some fertilizer, and you might get a grapevine. So this grapevine has some very unique characteristics by nature. It climbs using tendrils. It creates its seeds, making this fruit called grapes, which is seed inside. There are little flowers if you're looking at this plant in the spring, but we're looking at it in the late summer. So you're seeing the fruit. Here's another close-up of the tendrils. So go out, go in your backyard, go to your local park, and do some exploring.